And we're live.
Ish?
Yes, ish. Actually, that plastic bag is making a ton of noise.
I got it.
Yeah, can you just actually push the air conditioning up? The directional part of the air conditioner. Just push that up. Yeah, there you go. Sorry. Yeah, all kinds of technical problems. But we got Chris. Chris is here and not on lunch. We're actually going to have lunch after the stream.
It's lunchtime right now.
Ooh, it is lunch. Yeah, this is brutal. So we are no longer using Streamlabs to do anything, I guess, except tips. You can still tip us through Streamlabs, but yeah, we're just done with that. They did something where they're pushing us towards their paid ultra service, and we're not doing that.
Man, I miss the days of the internet when stuff was like still free.
Yeah, right.
Here's this free site. Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
you got to make money somehow, right? But donations, tip. Right?
Yeah, and to all these interlinking services that everybody wants to upsell you a subscription for is just crazy. So yeah, I think people got tricked because OBS has been this open source free software forever for streaming, but nothing else is free. The free level is almost unusable, and so Streamlabs has their own branded version of OBS where they put all their junk, all their technology and their widgets and stuff inside of it, and now they think they've just decided they're not going to let you do anything except go through their services. So yeah, we're completely blocked out, and we're unable to log in and making all kinds of. So we are on a very old installation of OBS.
Updated.
Yeah, we did a little bit.
Yeah, but there's no fancy.
We don't have our
segues.
No countdowns or anything. So you'll see some old Kokorono with the some live show in the middle of this, which I don't know if we're going to get a copyright strike on or whatever, but whatever. So yeah, we don't have anything.
That's definitely right. Yeah. Not the best.
Not the best. Yeah, this whole thing.
We're the best. Just the thing is not the best.
Yeah, the services are denying us.
Yeah.
Nice.
So OBS is still free.
Yes, and open source, so people can still develop for it.
That explains why we use it at work.
Yeah, of course. Why would they pay a corporate licensing fee when they can just use freeware?
I don't know. I'm not thinking about work today.
Oh, okay. Yes, that's right. It's a day. It's the equinox.
Yep, vernal equinox.
Yep. So we're it's off. It's a holiday. It's I guess a bank holiday. I guess we didn't even check if the lunch place is open today.
That would just be the topper on the day.
Yeah.
This place is closed. Right. All right.
Yes, we have to log in with Streamlabs if we want to lunch.
Oh my God! Don't. Having just read like Philip K. Dick, don't start me on what's gonna happen. Like someday, if capitalism keeps going the way it's going, it is going to be, you want to enter the restaurant? You want to get into your own house? Enter your Streamlabs code, right?
Right.
Similar to put a nickel in the door if you want to remember that?
Yeah, that's true. Well, it's all going to be going through X anyhow. They're going to be doing your Social Security payments and everything. Yeah.
I don't want to get a copy. I don't want to get a terrorism strike on this channel.
Yeah.
So my internal thoughts will be kept internal. All right.
To be declared a domestic threat.
I don't think we'll be demonetized. We'll be anyway. Yeah.
Yes, it's going to be fun. But we'll just be vegetating in some sort of tank, in our our golden years at that point. Who knows? But
we'll be fed into the Soylent Green.
Yeah, that's right. We'll watch the pretty movie and.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, they show you a beautiful, beautiful film strip.
Well, at least what that reminds me of. Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget. Right, where there's
of course, yeah.
they put the happy collars on the chickens because they figured out that being scared at the moment of death leads to tough chicken.
Oh.
So the whole plot of that movie is mood control collars in this paradise, right? That they think and they just get fed into the grinder. Yeah.
Wow, nice. That's a little heavy for a kid's.
You actually see someone get. Okay, you don't see it, but you see him go into this funnel of a grinder, and then a little thing of nuggets come down.
Nice. So how's Xenos Rampant going?
Tiny Xenos Rampant going? Okay.
Tiny. Yeah, good.
I'm trying to use some blue stuff, thermoplastic?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Green Stuff World. They just rebrand all their stuff as Green Stuff World. Anyway, it's this thermoplastic, right? You heat it up, and then it's a pliable kind of plastic stuff, reusable, to make push molds.
Oh, right.
It's kind of fiddly to work with. I found out that I think as it as it cools, it kind of like not contracts, but it like kind of pulls back on itself. So like the first couple casts I was making, I'm like, there's no detail in this because everything kind of pulled back as it was cooling. Anyway, I've made some like push molds of like big alien skulls because I wanted that classic, you know, like dried out, desiccated remains of this giant alien animal on some of the bases, and I'm trying to like cheat. I have a problem with using stuff.
Oh yeah,
right? Like those War Games Atlantic harvesters, like the giant bugs. They are massive at 6mm scale, but like the juveniles, I'm like, okay, that's going to be kind of the standard size bug, right? The ones that are like would fit on a 25mm base. I want to make some of them like burrowing for like the special insertion rule.
Yeah.
I can't bring myself to cut them up.
Oh,
right? 'Cause
no.
I'm like, I only got 10 of these things. I don't want to, right? So that's why I was trying to make like push molds of the top
like
of
kinda
them to
half,
make them like half in.
Right.
So we'll see how those work when I get home. But I think I'm gonna have about like 3 detachments. The kind of like Imperial Guard-esque with lots of infantry, kind of an Adeptus Astartes with like only a few bases of really super warriors, and then bugs. So hopefully they're coming along, almost done. Hopefully we'll play soon.
Oh, cool. Cool. Yeah, and I should be doing some Infinity this weekend on Sunday. Yeah, so it's the N5 rule. So I know they're a little more simplified. There's no switching between rolling under and rolling over. Some of the checks, and that got really confusing. So like for armor checks, you're rolling over. For just combat, you're rolling under.
Okay, yep.
But I hope they still keep the kind of face-to-face D20 rolls. And so even if you have no chance of, you have a very weak unit, if you roll under but over a certain number but under the other score, or if you beat the other score and roll over at the same time what you need, you cancel out their attack.
Okay,
so there's some pretty cool stuff, and you can even do damage to them. So you can have a huge unit attacking you, but if you have a really lucky roll and just hit that sweet spot between under what you need but over what they got, then you beat their roll. These the kind of opposed rolls are pretty interesting in that game. But I don't have any newer models, and it's all, I have trouble getting back and excited for Infinity because it's all those real fiddly metal, like metal cast, like white metal, and it's like little tiny antenna and stuff. It's
so like
a lot of super glue.
Like that's what, like you breathe on it and stuff breaks.
Right.
God forbid you have
dropping stuff. Yeah, and I've had arms fall off and stuff. Yeah, because it's just super glue, and it's not as super as the name might it's lead you to believe.
Mediocre glue.
Right. Yeah. So but I'm curious to see what the new rules are, and if it is more fun and streamlined and easy to play with. But we'll try that. But before that, something that we've been kind of trying to get to for a couple of weeks is Fallout. So on Friday night, we'll be doing North American time. We'll be doing the Fallout RPG, just probably character creation and maybe a little like first opening scene.
That's Mutant Year Zero engine?
No.
Sorry, that's the 2D20.
Yeah, it's an old. Yeah, it's an old one. Yeah, it's it's an old 2D20, kind of early days. The point economy is kind of there's just luck points and action points. It's not all these different interacting kind of things. So pretty simplified, and really trying to simulate the game, the computer game, the console game. So a lot of inventory. So encumbrance is going to be really important because you can scavenge a lot of stuff, plus stuff you bring back. It's kind of an interesting thing with crafting. They have like just common, uncommon, and rare components, and they don't really name what that is. But to do something, you need a certain number of common or a certain number. So they don't say, oh, you found, like in the game, you found a rubber gasket or whatever, and then it has to fit into a recipe. It's just the rarity of the components you find, and you can even convert junk into different components.
Of course, 'cause that's how it works in
That's cool. Yeah, so you can resell your junk, or you can actually convert it. So there's some good stuff that really feels like and especially the perks. Like they have all the perks from the game in there. So you take skills, and then you get these special perks like your stone skinned or whatever. So you get you're a little bit stronger at resisting radiation or gunfire or whatever, or you're just good at killing babies or whatever whatever you want to specialize in.
Don't want to know what the perk is for being good at killing babies.
Or killing people. I think Sandman is one where you kill people when they're sleeping and you get an advantage.
Okay.
I think you already had an advantage, but you're even
That's
more
kind of dark.
Yes, the game is pretty rough. I still and especially because there's like lore from the early PC games, and then there's lore from the newer Bethesda games, and it's not really very compatible. There's a lot of weird stuff. So I don't really understand because the nuclear Armageddon happened in like 2077 or 2070, I think. And but why is everything still like 1940s? Like how did they maintain? So I think in the game the idea was that you're kind of like digging back to, like things have been wiped out for that long, and once humanity emerged, the world that was above ground was 1940s, because that's when people were still alive. That's where things had stopped and everyone moved underground. But I think the newer setting, it's a little bit confusing. What happened in that 100 years? Pop culture just like froze and nothing was everything what? I guess the World War II was that wonderful that we never wanted to change our jukeboxes or our cars. Yeah, the models of our cars. So that's a little bit odd. But the setting will be fun. There's a lot of good stuff, and they let you play every kind of character and everything from the game. You can play robots and mutants and ghouls and
people who kill babies in their sleep,
and people that kill babies in their sleep. Yeah, I think a double bonus if you do that. Yeah, yeah. There was some, and I think they actually took that out of the game. But early days you could unlock the ability to kill children, because children are of course unkillable NPCs. So you don't want to do that because you might get a bad rate. The rating for your game might be difficult.
Yeah.
You could unlock that, but they had to remove it. But yeah, it's fun. Fun stuff.
And that'll be going back in the RPG you're playing tomorrow, right?
Yeah, we're putting that back in, definitely.
Just all the NPCs, just all kids. All kids, right?
Yes, yeah, it's very, very funny. But all right, so let's see, how's everybody doing? Yeah, Calerion and Matt, good to see you guys. And Age of Adventure is here. Hey, thank you for stopping by. This is a very rough stream.
Like I said, surprise stream. Surprise.
Oh, Age of Adventure is even complaining, about Streamlabs and all that good stuff. Yeah, they just want your monthly money.
Yeah,
then the services will also say, oh, and you can download the stream from our cloud, and they're holding it ransom. And if you'd like to keep these available longer, you can pay us even more money, and they'll just nickel and dime.
The enshittification of everything continues.
Yeah, it's really brutal. We're just going to be these, paying for just virtual access to everything. That's going to be our whole lives.
Unless we all just collectively decide to stop.
Right.
Yes. If everyone just collectively decided to stop. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we'll see a little bit of that in one of our our stories this week. Well, should we get started? Yes. Good to see everybody. Yeah, so sorry, things are going to look a little weird and rough, and actually the chat isn't even centered, is it? Yeah, good enough.
There you go.
Yeah, everything's a little goofy this week, so apologies. But I'll make the switch over and get all the graphics and stuff working for our new situation. But but thank you for coming on your day off, Chris. I appreciate it.
No, seriously.
Nice.
Everyone else left the house. Okay, fine.
Nice. Is this the day where you can make an egg balance on its end, or is it one
right.
of the equinoxes you can do that?
All
right. So let's get started after the ambulance. Let's get started for this week.
Ambulance coming to pick up the stream.
Yes, it needs help. Welcome to the weekly. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Chris.
And this week on the weekly, Sigil, DOA.
Are we surprised?
Yeah, why did we even bother talking about it last week?
We killed it. You're welcome.
Wildsea Bundle of Holding, Black Powder and Brimstone, and RipCrypt Dungeon Sprint. So it made me laugh, so I thought maybe we'd talk about it. Yeah. And it made somebody else laugh, so they picked it up, and
the cast probably needs some levity.
That's true. We'll end on a laugh.
Yep.
So last week we talked about the official release of Hasbro's Dungeons and Dragons virtual tabletop. And I don't know why we just didn't wait, and it would have just gone away. So yeah, you just refuse to use it, and it just goes away.
Yeah.
So Project Sigil this has kind of been deduced from social media, and I don't think there's been a lot of official statements, but people are figuring out that 30, which is 90% of the staff of Project Sigil, have been laid off. And so Hasbro's messy and unfinished virtual tabletop. I think Rascal News is actually, so this has been developing, and probably it's going to develop after we even talk about this, will be more details. But Rascal News reported from an internal message sent to Wizards of the Coast employees that they're going to transition Sigil to just D&D Beyond. It's just going to be a feature of D&D Beyond. It's not going to be its own service. So they're giving up on this monetization thing. I mean, they had the opportunity to create a walled garden, do the best VTT that's ever been done, and they just completely dropped the ball.
That would require them to like spend money and care about
well,
what they're doing.
They did spend some money. So if you think about, just 30 employees, and this has been in development for at least since 2022, so at least 3 years. That's what, almost $5 million? Well, not even including like they're paying the directors and everything. That's $5 million that's just gone into the salaries of these employees, just to do something that that's going to be thrown away.
They're going to be able to write it off as a tax.
Yeah, right. Right. So, your $1 million Kickstarter for your indie RPG, they laugh at that because they can just throw away. They can throw away $5 million and not even flinch. Yep. So most of the Sigil team will be separated from the company this week.
I love the wording.
That's nice. We'll be separated. You guys, go over there. It really sounds like there was a lot of internal mess that just made this not possible, because with the resources they had and the ability to they could even just buy up technologies that they could then incorporate if they wanted to, kind of Microsoft style. Just anybody that was doing anything good, or anybody that was doing like modules for Foundry or whatever, they just come work for us and help us develop our thing, and we'll pay you well. But that didn't happen. So after several months of alpha testing, we've concluded, this is the only statement in this message that was kind of intercepted, we've concluded our aspirations for Sigil as a larger standalone game with a distinct monetization path will not be realized, the purported message reads. And although we haven't fully realized our vision for Sigil to scale, the team should be proud of their achievements.
So proud of your achievement that we're laying you off.
Yes, right? Now fuck off. Yeah, that's lovely. You should be proud. Now, go collect your unemployment. And the real heartbreaker of this is Andy Collins was one of the people let go, and there was a LinkedIn post that kind of let people know what was going on, because I think he was a WotC game rules specialist, and I don't think he was like directly involved in Sigil, but he's been involved in D&D forever. So originally, released last year. It was unveiled, I guess, unveiled last year in its like unfinished form in the summer of 2024. Their Unreal Engine VTT was demoed. Was demoed for press and things, and the system has been rife with bugs, user accessibility issues, and it is extremely limited compared to what they've been talking about. The problem seems to be that Hasbro's upper management the whole time is not looking at this as a virtual tabletop. It's looking as we're developing an in-house video game for D&D. So there's this push and pull between the team that's actually working on it saying, no, this is a virtual tabletop. It's just a digital version of what you would do on the table with miniatures and terrain. And the management saying, no, we're making a video game. Make it more like this, do more like this, because you're using a video game engine to do it, so you could. An internal rift, and then even between the Sigil's developers and the D&D Beyond team, because there's the Beyond team developed a system, kind of a maps VTT system, which is a 2D token and kind of graph paper mapping system that you can use. And the Beyond team denied access to the data to the Sigil team, so they couldn't do any sort of cooperation or kind of make those systems work together or anything. So obviously, having something in Washington and having something in Rhode Island is not a great way to keep people in the loop.
No, I guess not. I don't know. I gotta wonder why Hasbro kind of didn't do what you just suggested earlier, where actually I don't know what their monetary situation is or financial situation, but why didn't they just like buy someone to make this for them?
Right. Yeah, because there's a ton of.
I think the short answer is they're trying to save money, and they ended up not.
Probably trying to do it cheap. But the whole thing is they didn't even know what they were making. Like
That too.
It was obvious. There's a report from N-World. They went to a press event that we'll talk about, where the developers are just saying, we don't know what features we're going to add. We're going to ask the players. It's like, wait, this is a little bit late to be doing that. Isn't this like a thing? You're asking the players what they want this to be.
That. Mm-hmm. Similar to all those surveys they put out after 4E.
Oh, yeah.
Like, okay, I get it. You are making a commercial product, and you have to, or you feel you have to appeal to the largest group of consumers that are going to buy a product, and that means putting out surveys to see what you want. But it also means you do not have a clear design goal of, or even like a plan. You're just like, we don't know what this is. Let's just ask everybody. It looks incredibly lazy. Just you don't know what you want. No, I take it back. What you want is to make money. And so you're going to ask, well, what do you want that would
what would you
like to see that we're going to pay for? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So initially this One D&D initiative was announced back in August of 2022, and they're basically targeting things like Roll20 or Foundry, which it would not be hard for somebody with any sort of resources and developers to kick Roll20's ass, because Roll20 is garbage. It's really it's really frustrating to use. So this was a golden opportunity before they really figured out what they were doing, or somebody really figured out how to monetize virtual tabletops and get this, rolling. It would have been easy to take over this space, and especially with the biggest brand. But as the popularity of D&D is fading, it doesn't seem like there's even any point.
Tangent. Is the popularity of D&D fading?
I would imagine now with this failure that they're not going to be able to anybody. So if all of the big live streamers or actual play, people are going to move away from D&D. Yeah, I would really think that D&D, it's not going to be sharing the spotlight with Pathfinder, but it's still going to probably be a majority. But I don't think it's the 80% that it. I don't think it's going to remain the 80% that it was.
I think it's still going to be popular for a while. But again, tangent. What D&D should, or Hasbro should do, is spend money to either, what's the word I'm looking for? My brain turned off. To either like sponsor, or just like outright buy a popular AP. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Like,
okay, Critical Role, I guess, has moved to Daggerheart, which from what I hear, like, you might not even notice a fucking difference, right? But whatever. But like, Hasbro should sponsor someone and just be very, not hands off, but like, don't move them to whatever Hasbro Wildsea channel you had, because no one fucking watches that thing, right? Just play D&D on your channel.
Well, they've done that quite often. Like any celebrities, they have.
Those suck.
No, not celebrity. I mean celebrities in the actual play world. YouTube celebrities, like tabletop YouTuber celebrities, they hire them. They're obviously paying them, and they hire them to kind of show off stuff. Like their Gen Con D&D live show was just like they brought in names that people may recognize, and they demoed Sigil, which I didn't know that's how Americans pronounce it.
Yeah.
And
I think I read something on Rascal News, which I'm a supporter of, where they were just like, it sucked.
Yeah.
Like the sigil thing sucked.
Right. And it was just described as a lifeless, technical, glitch-filled slop presentation.
Wow. And here I thought me saying it sucked was harsh. Lifeless, technical.
Yes.
Anyway, like Wildsea or Hasbro could even like save money by sponsoring smaller casts, right? Like instead of paying like the big bucks for something like well-known, just like grassroots this shit. Just like, sure, we'll sponsor this channel for.
Yeah.
I don't know what it would be, but it would be less than a big name, right? But you get enough of it, and just like
but you'd have to hire somebody to manage that knew what they were looking at, because if they're just going to look at numbers and stuff, they're going to choose wrong, and they're going to choose.
I have no faith. This report, like I have no faith that Hasbro management would actually know what they're doing. Right? So anyway,
they're just going to look at how many they're just going to look at viewership and
there goes my chance to have us
Oh
Sponsored by
my
Hasbro.
God, so close. But yeah, so based in Renton, Washington, the Wizards of the Coast headquarters. So N-World talked about the press event that they attended, and where they first demoed in early 2025. They showed off what this sigil thing is going to be, and the conclusion that N-World had is they've created a solution for a problem that hadn't been introduced yet. So it's like, what does this solve? What does this do? And at one point, the designers noted that their plan for Sigil's development was largely dependent on what users actually wanted. And this is in early 2025. This is months ago, a few months ago. So yeah, so the conflict with maps, their D&D Beyond feature, didn't help. And so it kind of officially launched last month. So February 2025, there was this surprise, like very lifeless press release. And here it is. And you get access to it a little bit if you're a D&D free subscriber on D&D Beyond. But yeah, so but it's just come out. They kind of just dumped it on the market, I guess, because there was some investment in there. They wanted, okay, maybe it'll keep people subscribing to Beyond or move up to that other tier a little bit more, but they're just giving up on it. And so we first got a clue about this from Andy Collins. So Andy Collins on, I guess it was his LinkedIn. Yeah, his LinkedIn profile posted today, approximately 30 talented developers, 90% of the team were laid off from the Sigil team, including yours truly. So I guess he was part of the Sigil team. I'm disappointed that we didn't get to continue working towards a full experience we imagined, but happy for the opportunity to work on an intriguing challenge with so many smart and dedicated folks. I feel very bad for this, guys, and we'll find out why. But he ends it with saying, "Be kind to yourself, and if you can, be kind to someone else today too." Yikes. From his Wikipedia page, so Andy has been working with Wizards since April of 1996. So they just threw away a 30-year employee that was incredibly dedicated. In fact, there's a quote from him on the Wikipedia page that says, "I sometimes have to pinch myself when I'm walking down the hall of Wizards of the Coast." And he quoted Lou Gehrig as saying, "I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth to be working in this industry with so many great people." So that kind of employee, yeah, you definitely, he's useless. You definitely don't want a guy like that at your company. Someone that's committed, someone that enjoys the hobby and has been there. It's been there since 4th edition. What
do the numbers say?
Oh, the number. Oh, yeah, right. That's all we're worried about.
That's all we care about, right?
Yeah, so that's really sad that they're just like they just dumped him out with this Sigil misstep, like he was, like it was all his idea, but. So I guess it's no more. I guess we don't even have to figure out if we're going to say Sigil or Sigil anymore, because it's a moot point.
Planescape 2e campaign. Sorry, it's the city of Sigil, not Sigil.
Sigil. Yeah, but that was So I looked that up last week, and the American pronunciation is Sigil. The UK is Sigil. Isn't that terrible?
It's terrible.
Yes.
Like, you don't scribe a sigil.
You do. It's a Sigil.
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right.
I'm a Sigilist. That's right. Oh, now I have to roll. Now we have to play Frostgrave with my Sigilist.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, nice. But it's too bad. I mean, it's like
I've got the spell exploding sigil.
Sigil.
Sounds ridiculous. Sigil.
Yes.
Sigil.
So this whole mess. And it just you kind of suspected that something was not going well because you didn't see.
Because it's Hasbro.
Yeah, right. But any leap forward in any of like how it's looked the same for like the past 2 years, like what they first demoed 2 years ago. It's like it's exactly the same. The functionality hasn't changed, but this was their chance to create a market for digital minis, digital terrain. And the problem is the interesting thing in that press thing that N-World attended in February is that one of the first questions people said is, well, can we play something other than D&D in it? It's like, oh, wait, yes, okay. So, yeah, that's why I'm suspecting D&D might not be as popular as...
Okay, fair, okay. Based on that anecdotal evidence, yeah, sure, okay.
Can we play something else besides D&D?
Wow, depending on how it's worded, right? Will you have the ability to play something else? Yes. Can we play anything else?
Anything. But anyhow, let's move on to something not D&D. Let's put all this unpleasantness behind us. Yeah, so we shouldn't have even talked about it because it would have gone away if we just ignored it. All right, but the complete Wildsea, the MythWorks game Wildsea, is available as a bundle of holding.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I backed the digital digital version of this back in the day. I haven't had a chance to play it and look through the rules. And this was back when I started to realize books are way too expensive to ship to Japan. So a $40 book is $40 shipping. So yeah.
I'm kind of reaching that point myself.
Yes. So Worldsea is a verdant setting set in the world of Verdancy, just in case it wasn't verdant enough. A dangerous and toxic place. So the blurb is 3 centuries ago, a tide of rampant growth overwhelmed the world's empires. Now chainsaw-driven ships cut across the Verdancy, a dense forest canopy of toxic iron-rooted trees. You and your fellow wind sailors, humanity's weathered descendants, and also cactoid gunslayers, centipedal fungi, silk cloth spider folk, and even stranger things explore the tangle. They hunt pinwolves, thrumming birds, and trade oil fruit and honey, and they salvage wrecks from the sink, or seek thrills in the Foxloft, Spitskill Tide, Spearing Fens, and even down into the darkness under eaves, amid the bones of the old world. So as the Wildsea hungers and grows, you will discover its depths. So so for $20, $19.95, you get basically everything they've produced. So there's not multiple levels in this bundle. It's just one single price, one single collection. It's the core rules and 2 sources and then 2 adventures. Okay. So 5 books for $19.95, which would be over, I think, all told, if you bought it, physical retail, you're looking at like $60. So you get a bit of a discount there. But it's an interesting setting. Some people have criticized the rules as a little kludgy, and you might have to change. Kludgy? You might have to change. Or Sigil.
The pronunciation episode.
Sigil. But it's a fun setting. It's a neat idea that basically the only livable part left of the world is the forest canopy, because everything else is rotted and toxic as hell.
I don't know, just my own personal opinion. It sounds interesting. You kind of lost me with all the cactoid gunslingers, fungi.
Yeah, it's got some
things,
wacky,
right?
some wacky character types.
I think it's kind of like, to me, it sounds like the same. No, I'm thinking about Numenera, right? Where if everything is weird, nothing is. right? And that applies to like a lot of stuff. So not only Wildsea, but like if I were going to run this, I think I'd limit it to like, no, you're playing people. And that's it, right? Because the setting sounds like weird enough where like the players might have trouble grappling with like, okay, what is considered weird and what is considered normal in this setting?
Is a cactoid all that strange? Yes. Yeah, so the designer, Felix Isaac, is responsible for, basically all of the books, the adventures and the expansions. So that's, 2 full-length adventures, and there's an introductory in the core book and then the expansions themselves. And actually the book is a 368-page core rule book, so lots of stuff there. So I'll put a link to the MythWorks Wildsea Bundle of Holding, and that's DRM-free PDFs for life.
Yeah, for life.
Yes, or the life of PDFs, or of Bundle of Holding. It's a neat setting, and I really I haven't looked into the rules, but there's been a little criticism of the rules. Actually, Chris, Idle Red Hands, Chris, that was the only game that he was talking about last time I saw him. He's like, I was like, Wildsea, really? Okay. That's a thing? I thought, I remember that, coming up and it being an interesting setting, but whatever space is on Reddit or whatever he crawls, that's what they were talking. All right, here, this is exactly what you've been waiting for, right up your alley. Okay. Black Powder and Brimstone, a dark fantasy, grim dark, your favorite, swashbuckling, and demons unleashed. So this is going to be supported by Free League, because this is, of course, powered by Morkborg. If you're not borged out yet, you're gonna be borged out. So this is rules light, grim dark, art heavy. So Benjamin Tobbit, his game of demons, swashbuckling, and religious schisms. So now on the Free League web store and Drive-Thru RPG. So like I said, using the Morkborg rule set, 2 conflicting churches in a decades-long war. There's gunpowder, witches, and demons. Great swords and plate armor with pistols and pirates. So this is one of the first big projects that has been published under the Free League Workshop. So kind of their supporting the
smaller people.
Smaller people to develop using one of their licensed kind of rule sets. So the official sub-label for independent creators of Free League, and so now they're officially supporting it and giving it some attention. So a blurb from their website: the Orthodox and Puritans of the Church of the Sacred Blood are stuck in a stalemate of war that has raged for decades. You are a desperate adventurer stuck in the middle of the conflict, desperately trying to survive, maybe even profit, amongst the chaos and destruction.
So it sounds like you play a bastard.
You're a bastard, and the world is ending. It's all
well, I mean, that's what
dark.
Morkborg is, right?
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so you can wield unique, characterful weapons with each of their own rules and advantages on top of a damage die. The arsenal includes dreaded black powder weapons, infernal devices that ignore all armor on hit and can cause such mayhem and destruction to the wielder as the intended target. So, a lot of the key features are, interesting weapons. You're a desperate character or desperate adventurer stuck in the middle of this weird conflict. You can use forbidden magic, and of course there's lots of treasure because it's also kind of piratey themed. Yes, right. And so Ben Tobbett was quoted as saying, "I'm hoping to reach an audience of people who love fantasy and adventure but want something other than Tolkien-esque Western fantasy, and I want players to let loose with ruthless adventurers in a dark and gothic world haunted by demons and patrolled by zealots. The rules are to facilitate dynamic swashbuckling combat and thrilling encounters, and I hope to create memorable stories set in this grimdark setting."
Oh, maybe.
Yes. Yeah. So you almost had enough of grimdark and Borg clones, but they just keep coming.
A bit. Which, okay, it's now I know how people feel when like PBTA games were getting cranked out, right?
Right.
And some of those were just like, you look at them like, you don't understand how this system or how this family of games kind of works.
Right.
So I'm absolutely nothing against what was it, Brimstone and.
Oh yes, Brimstone and Black Powder. Black Powder and Brimstone.
Like the setting sounds interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea of playing like kind of swashbuckler gray characters between like these two big powers,
Mm-hmm,
right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but I am getting a bit burned out on the world's ending. You're playing a bastard who wants to profit from it. I'm like, okay.
That's the world we're living in now.
Exactly. That's where we're living in now, and I'm kind of burned out on that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll put a link to the drive-through page so you can take a look at that. And so Free League is supporting the Black Powders,
Black Powder and
Brimstone game. And Modifius is supporting another game. So this is a successful Kickstarter that made me laugh just as its approach, because everybody is trying to do something that feels a little original, feels a little fresh in this tabletop space, whether it's like very retro clone OSR kind of stuff, or it's just a totally new take on dungeon crawling. So that brings us to a RipCrypt, all one word, a dungeon sprint TTRPG.
Okay.
So it's going to launch on retail 2025 as a partnership between Grit Silk Games and Modifius Entertainment. And their tagline is "More sprint, less crawl."
I like that.
Yeah, so it just made me laugh, and the whole approach was kind of very funny in its way, and of course it leans more towards player guided and solo play.
Okay.
So a successful Kickstarter in early December of last year produced a core rulebook, a premium rulebook, and then a control board, which looks like a kind of a GM screen.
Okay.
So it's hitting retail and online stores this year. So set in Undergrade, a sprawling maze of aqueducts, catacombs, and crypts beneath ancient ruins, RipCrypt combines tactical mechanics with atmospheric storytelling. Players face hazards, traps, and creatures while scavenging for resources and seeking ancient knowledge to ascend to the Overgrade. The game aims to provide an accessible introductory to fantasy role-playing while offering enough depth to engage veteran players.
So is it like a skirmish war game?
Yeah, I think it's just that. Yeah, it seems like how there's some card game based kind of dungeon crawls where you just like you're constantly like generating threat and things that you have to roll over and avoid. It sounds like it's just like you're just plowing through a dungeon at full speed. So I'm gonna totally butcher this, but Kenan Antos, founder of Grit Silk Games, commented on his partnership with Modifius. So 2025 is the year for modern role-playing games. RipCrypt is well positioned to disrupt the landscape with its unique and streamlined approach. We partnered with Modifius to help launch into a much wider market, and are incredibly excited to get this game into the hands of fans and new players internationally. It's a little corporate speak for an indie developer, but
well,
yeah.
I mean, you're partnering
Yes.
with a mid-tier corporation.
You got to talk.
right?
You got to talk the talk.
Right? Yeah.
And Chris Birch, the co-founder of Modifius, has also shared his thoughts. I saw the Kickstarter for RipCrypt pop up and immediately noticed its appeal. As a personal fan of solo and cooperative role-playing games, I saw the possibilities for this game to realize its full potential through their Modifius program of distribution. Mm-hmm. So it's going to get it into retail. So the game is easy to learn, fun to play, continuously engaging with a lo-fi aesthetics and light rules mechanics. So so the tagline for the company itself, the designer is "We spin grit into silk."
Okay.
So grit silk. So you can play with a keeper-led or like a GM-led guidance, player-led or solo. There is you make a step by
keeper-led. Keeper-led or solo. Okay.
Keeper-led. So it's like someone that's not playing, player-led, or so kind of three modes. Okay. Step-by-step character creation in 10 minutes, 4 simple stats, minimal downtime, combat resolution in minutes, not hours. So no classes, no races, only heroes. You're rolling D8 die pools. There are smooth initiative and turns following fate. Combat realism with hit locations and low hit points. Ranged attacks with bows or black powder. You can learn magic, and so they have Glimcraft and auras. So a lot of crazy, kind of very unique named and functioning spells. Quick morale effects and conditions. Simple and transparent advancement with glory. Easy encumbrance with gear slots. 32 skills with heroic fate paths. 24 Glimcraft recipes and 3 aspects of Glim, which there's their magic system. Right, okay. 29 illustrated hostels to populate your crypt, and a full armory of hand weapons, ranged weapons, and armor to equip your heroes.
So again, it sounds very combat heavy.
Yeah, it sounds like you're just jumping over spiked pits and slaying monsters as you're running full speed. That like, reminds me of that the game, that sci-fi game they pitched on like PlayStation 2 or whatever, just called Run Like Hell, and that's all you did is you just ran away from things trying to eat you. Yeah. Run Like Hell, the TTRPG. So 148 pages for the core rules, 74 professionally designed 2-page spreads, quick reference, old school inspired, and they do have illustrators and credit the illustrators, so this is not all just, there is maybe some royalty free art, but there's a lot of also illustrators involved. 11 chapters of the book. It's digest size, so 6 by 8.5, case bound hardback, and they did do a premium one, which is faux leather with, of course, green foil. And best of all, it was designed in Seattle, Washington. If that is important at all to you. But so it was entertaining. It was a fun kind of take on things. It doesn't seem like it's going to create a huge trend, but it's for a break or something a little different. It might be fun to just just run down the hallway swinging a battle axe.
If that's what the point is, you're just like, you got to get always got to get from point A to point B, and there's just stuff in your way. Okay.
Yep. And you just you're collecting stuff, and you're shouting your spells or whatever you're doing along the way. So it looks like fun, and this is the first game by this company, so we hope to see more. And it tickled Chris Birch of Modifius, so it may tickle you as well. And the name is just pretty funny. Yes. So so that's gonna do it for this week. So where can people find you?
Blue Sky and Instagram. That's HiveMind, HYVEMYND, where it's all just 6mm sci-fi soldiers at the moment, or forbidden cookies. Which is what the bases look like after they've been textured and painted, right?
Cookies.
They're just these round things that look like cookies. Yeah.
And we've got a crowdfunder for Hard War coming up.
Is that why?
This year sometime. I think this summer. So we'll be talking about that, and it falls under your 6mm limit. So we might we'll give it some coverage.
I might have to branch out into 10.
Oh no.
Because that's the other thing. Like War Games Atlantic just recently announced their 10mm grand battle scale classic fantasy game.
Wow.
Because they have their grand battle scale, which was samurai. Unappealing, right? And then they went like, okay, we're going to do War of the Roses, like English and French. I'm like, okay. And then they went, by the way, here's a teaser of some orcs. And I'm like, so that their plan is to put out like 10 factions.
Wow.
And I didn't realize they're also doing their own rule set with it. So the orc box goes on pre-sale tomorrow, so 21st. And I'm like, looking at it going,
So the Battle of 5 Armies times 2.
yeah. I'm just like, anyway, I might, but they're
Nice.
10mm stuff. But it looks nice.
good.
Anyway.
Yeah. I like their stuff. Yeah, we should check too if they're going to release digital versions of that.
Oh,
they've got
you know
a
what?
really
Their
nice.
Wargames Atlantic does have a nice digital.
Yeah, they've got a nice
section,
digital. Digital platform. Well, very cool.
Yep. So where can people find you?
Well, you could have found me yesterday, or not Tuesday. Tuesday.
Tuesday, that's quite fun, yeah.
Yes, on my drawing stream, the Abuse Cartoon stream, which showed up on this channel. And I think that's the reason why we keep losing subscribers is because my cartooning pops up and people are like, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah.
Unsubscribe. But we are 5 subscribers away from 3,000. So those
five more subscribers.
5 amazing people. So if you're just lurking, you're just watching, hit the subscribe button. You can
doesn't cost you
unsubscribe
anything.
tomorrow, but I just want to see that number tick over, just
3,000.
for nothing happens, nothing changes. But we should
changes.
do some sort of celebration because it's been a long time in the making. But Abuse Cartoons is my cartoon stream on both YouTube and Twitch. So I draw my single panel gag cartoon, eat some Japanese snacks. It was crunky this week. There's a lot of crunky flavors.
There is, yeah.
And so you can read that cartoon at Go Comics, so gocomics.com/domestic abuse. And if you like what we're doing here on the weekly, you can become a weekling.
The strongest of all supporters.
That's a tier on Patreon, so patreon.com/upturned table. Tell us what you'd like to see more of, if we should have a funeral for Sigil or what we should do next week. And so just let us know. There's other tiers to support actual play or lower videos, whatever you'd like to see. And I just posted our complete adventure for Tunnels and Trolls, not inside, but outside Patreon. I'm taking advantage of them storing our videos. So an ad-free 5.5-hour video of everything we did in Matt's Cave of the Boarmen original adventure for Tunnels and Trolls to celebrate their 50th birthday, and hopefully we'll see some actual release this 50th birthday.
Well, like I said, anything, and you're doing a step up on Watson.
Yeah, right. Yeah, as long as it's if you do better than Pop-Tarts, then you've won. Yeah. But Upturned Table on all social media, and we will be back not tomorrow, but the day after with Fallout RPG, and they've got a really nice bunch of modules and things for alchemy. So we'll be on alchemy with some gorgeous looking Fallout and some character creation, which should get pretty wacky. And so that's on this channel. We'll go live with that 2 days from now, and then we'll be back next week with the weekly.
Yeah.
See
you
you
didn't
then.
say it. Later, mortals. You didn't give me my cue.
It's been a nightmare. A nightmare. Goodbye.
Later, mortals. Next week.
Bye. Yes, we're back. Yeah, I had that video. I was trying to find something to do during the little intermission, and I had the another live performance. We might get dinged copyright on that because I didn't clear it. But yeah, Kokoro no Me has a Spotify deal, so that's why we get dinged on YouTube, because Spotify instantly does the copyright ID on YouTube. Because everyone's stealing. Yeah, Spotify
people
deal.
less than fraction of a cent.
right. Unless you're, Joe Rogan or conservative talk.
What's his fucking name? Tate.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, they're always getting the good deals there. So, yeah, good to see everybody in the chat. Yeah, so sorry about the technical mess ups this week. So we'll just move completely over to vanilla OBS and, not have to worry about it anymore. And Arturo, the robot bartender, is here.
Oh, that's what it is. I was trying to read it during show.
Nice. Yeah, good to see. Yeah, so this is a little bit earlier and a different day, so confusing everybody. But we'll be back to our normal lunch on Fridays schedule next week. Yes. All right. Yeah, Arturo says 4E gets a bad rap. Yes, and Chris, what's his face, would admit he worked on the Player's Handbook, I think. Oh, hey, headphones. That would be cool. I can actually hear if we're online.
So how's our voice coming through?
I think it's okay. Right. Yeah, it's good now. Sorry about that. Yeah, but that was sad. Andy Collins, just because he got wrapped up in the Sigil debacle, got his walking papers after 30 years of serving Wildsea. I guess I don't know where you go after that, but. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Arturo was saying it's like Hasbro learned all the wrong lessons from their success with Baldur's Gate 3. Yeah, they really did. They really. Let's open multiple game studios that I think Skeleton Key we just talked about. They canceled all of their projects. They're hiring people, but they canceled all their games. And it's not like game development is an overnight. It's several years, and some projects get it's a decade. It's like 8 to 10 years of development for a polished huge AAA game, and Wizards of the Coast has no idea, what they're doing with that. And Hasbro.
I think they should probably, I don't know. They should probably just go back to focusing on pen and paper games.
Yeah, but I think the reason that they're trying to move away and that they were trying to sell, they're just licensing IPs and stuff, is because they realized I think we talked about that early on. The flaw of that is if you buy those first 3 books, you're kind of done. And so you just have to, and because they get. When they're trying to revive the old settings, they've avoided Dark Sun and a lot of old D&D settings because they have to make them very palatable to everybody, so they have to strip out anything interesting in the settings, so they can't keep releasing that stuff. And also that was the thing that old TSR ran into once they were doing those box sets, is you get people that are playing D&D but they're only playing a certain setting, so if you don't keep supporting that, then they're not buying anything. They're just playing their original Dark Sun box and their new created thing. And it is really hard to, as DIY and, homebrew and make your own as tabletop is, it is really hard. That's why their walled garden VTT thing was genius, because your rules aren't going to make it in here. There's only one way to play. There's only one set of digital miniatures to use. That's what they needed to do to kind of stake their claim, on D&D, and they just couldn't do it.
I mean, there's the more, I don't know, there's maybe the more altruistic approach, but yes, the thing about pen and paper role-playing games is once you buy those kind of core books, you don't actually have to buy anything else.
Right.
But I mean, I think D&D has shown that once you get big enough, you have the whales who will continue to buy anything that you put out, right? Yeah. So I think you could just, I don't know if it makes enough money to rely on that, being okay, yeah, here's the new book, right? Just,
yeah.
I wonder if it's a shorter development time than video games.
Oh yeah. No, I think definitely any of those releases are just resurrecting an old setting. They don't, they get those out pretty quick. But I think also Hasbro looking at what Wildsea, what they were making money on and what they were losing money on, because that was the reason for the OGL debacle, is they realized that people that had companies completely based on 5e third-party support, doing books and settings and their own unique monster, manuals and stuff. And so many people were making money, like iPhone cases. So many people were making money off of the D&D brand that wasn't WotC. That I think that's why they got frustrated and said, okay, no, let's make them sign this. We're going to get a piece of everything, and we actually own everything they make for. And then, of course, nobody bit on that, and then it spawned all of these alternatives.
Okay, like I have to, the OGL thing, right? Yeah, I mean the original OGL, as stated, like we talked about this before, the original OGL, as stated by the creator of that OGL, was to make or heavily encourage everyone to make third-party stuff for this one system to the exclusion of other systems. And that's what it did. That's why like everything is, okay, not everything, but that's why there's this huge glut of D20 based games that are all compatible. And Hasbro and WotC could have been satisfied with that and said, you know what, like, okay, the people are making money off of our stuff, but like the IP things like Displacer Beast, Owlbear, Beholder, right? That's Wizards IP. So I mean, like they could have gone after it. Would have been hard, but like, okay, here's our Eye Tyrant, here's our Bear Owl, right? Here's our Shimmer Beast, right? Like, okay, yeah, there are ways to get around it, but like they could have just focused on like their actual like IP instead of, well, I don't know. I'm saying all this, but like we've discussed before, I have to wonder what kind of effect that OGL debacle had on Hasbro's and WotC's bottom line, because like all the designers and third-party creators were talking about it. What did it actually do to sales and numbers? I don't know. I don't have that answer. But anyway, my whole thing is like, I think Hasbro, it's capitalism, so they're not going to be satisfied. But I think Hasbro and WotC could be satisfied by saying, you know what? Yes, third-party stuff does exist. Let's just keep focusing on official D&D stuff, putting out quality adventures. I mean, and I think they could have continued to make money that way.
Yeah, and I wonder because Hasbro itself had gotten into entertainment and stuff like the E1, and then they ended up selling that off. But I think they're still going to, because I think we're getting a Monopoly movie. I mean, they're still going to try to do that, and I think that might have been part of the of Sigil's downfall as well. Is the management at Hasbro was saying, okay, we've got this digital platform. Can we put Transformers and My Little Pony and Peppa Pig in it because we own all this stuff? So why don't we just cram everything in it? Because I think even Chris Cox made a reference to it. It'd be so cool to see Transformers in like, wait, what? You're talking about Transformers in D&D? He's got his little PowerPoint presentation with Optimus Prime that he can't wait to use.
Optimus Prime. Yeah. There is a subsection of the hobby that would like fall all over itself to see Optimus Prime fighting Tiamat or Vecna or whatever, so right? Amazing, yeah. Along with Rainbow Dash, right? And Peppa Pig in there. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a strong brony contingent that is waiting for the day where they can roll their pony their ponies up in D&D.
There's
5e ponies.
My Little Pony role-playing games.
Yeah.
Like official ones, I think. Yeah?
Right. Yeah, I think they are licensed, aren't they?
Yeah.
Why did they do that? Why did they give that off to a second? It should have just been My Little Pony 5e. Like, why did they hand that off? Yeah. Because 5e can do anything. Oh, man.
People would be very much forgiven for not realizing when I'm being sarcastic, when I'm being serious. Yeah, right? Because you're right, 5e can do anything, right?
Yeah, but I think that's really true. I think that Baldur's Gate success, and they're like, oh, we just got a licensing fee. We made a bunch of money, but we only got a licensing fee. What if we had all of that money? And they didn't understand that what Larion, basically, the whole history of that company was leading up to what they did with Baldur's Gate 3. Like every innovation they made in their Pillars of Eternity, or what's the other games? It's not Pillars of Eternity. It's a different, whatever. There are other games. I can't, I'm blanking on the name of their games, but the Divinity games, right? But everything that they did basically had turned into just putting a coat of Baldur's Gate 3 over it. So it's not like WotC could just start a studio and do that.
No, that's why I don't know, man. That's why
Yeah.
you like buy one, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why you buy one and you
Right,
say,
right.
we own you now, but just continue to do what you're doing.
But include My Little Pony. I can't imagine. Maybe someday someone will talk about it on a blog. But whoever was involved in the Sigil team and like what kind of direction they were getting. Yeah, it's like, now do this. Okay, now do this.
Okay, now do this other thing that we talked about before that you've been working like at cross purposes for, right?
Right. Yeah, I'm sure there's so much lost content and development. Yeah, the Clarion saying, yes, our WotC sponsorship incoming, because they need to start at the grassroots. They need to support us.
I don't think we'll ever be getting some kind of WotC sponsorship.
No, I think we've talked too much shit.
Yeah.
And we play so little of their products that
we play so little, period.
Yeah,
so little of their product.
And then the percentage of which are yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But okay, I've been honest. Like, if they sponsored, like, I do wonder how much sponsorships would cost.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
For like smaller.
Smaller would be nothing, because
Well, no, but I mean,
if it's based on like advertising revenue, like based on subscribers and views and stuff, yeah, they already have that figured out, like
right,
YouTube
okay.
and stuff and Twitch already have that figured out, so they'll just it's not enough to run a channel on, but yeah, it would be enough to pay for operations, like, but you're not going to pay anybody a salary based on what WotC would pay.
That's what I mean. Like, okay, instead of like spending for the same amount of money to sponsor an actual play with big names, I wonder if it would be, and you said people have the numbers on this, I wonder if it would be more effective to take the same amount of money and sponsor a bunch of smaller
you're right,
APs, right?
Yeah, because I think you'd hit a wider range of players, but you'd also hit a lot of people that are just so anti D&D anyhow.
Well, then you wouldn't sponsor them, right?
No, but I mean, viewer, because there are people that have there are people that do actual play series that have played a lot of indie stuff, and then let's try a 5e campaign, and then boom, everybody just
well, that would, I have to think that would be their audience, right? Like, if they've built up, if the channel whatever has built up a dedicated audience by playing indie games, as soon as you go corporate mainstream, you're gonna go, what the fuck, you sold out, right? So don't target those.
Yeah,
right?
but they think they already know those people, because those are the people that show up at the press events and stuff. So they've already like had, the not. The mid-tier, the mid-tier kind of people that do that stuff. They've already kind of had them on their radar. They're not really celebrities, but they have enough, they have an interesting reach, and they have a presence like in social media and stuff with.
Well,
yeah, and there's also, like there's a whole another generation of like, because Dungeons and Dragons TikTok is a thing now. There's like a lot of like, people doing wacky stuff on, short form videos and stuff. So it's crazy. So it looks like Pirate Borg is getting... Yeah, Pirate Borg's got a nice alchemy release. Oh, and also the Wildsea has a nice alchemy set to play in. So that might make it more fun, just to be able to see all that art and everything, all your wacky cactoid gunslingers. But I realized so alchemy is releasing a lot of new settings, and there's also a bunch of stuff that I already had from Kickstarters and stuff. So they started just kind of include that as a tier in some crowdfunding. So I have Household. So Household has a whole beautiful setup in alchemy. So we've got to try that sometime soon. Yeah, because that's the reason that I thought to play Fallout, is because they had the Humble Bundle with everything they released for Fallout ported over to alchemy.
Now that Household thing reminded me that Two Little Mice is gearing up for their superheroes.
Yeah, they're Outgunned 3, I guess, their third iteration. Yeah, and that's funny. They did a graphic that looked like the phases of the MCU. They're like phase 1, phase 2, and they're so they've got a good sense of humor about it. And it would be fun to create like a bizarro world MCU where you could tweak everything to your taste. It's not all going to be like jingoistic fascist like pro-American Superman. You can create characters that would actually have a very fun aesthetic and be fighting very different villains, I imagine.
I don't know. I've been trying to cut back. I probably won't be back on that just because
It's gonna be gorgeous though. Yeah.
It is good. I bet it is going to be gorgeous. But like I backed that Outgun Adventure.
Oh yeah.
I'm still waiting for all that. I mean, not late by any terms, but I'm still waiting all for that to arrive. But I don't.
Yeah, that's
think
coming. I think
and superheroes too, right?
Yeah. That was I was like on the fence about the second household, but it's like they're not going to do that again, and those sets are so gorgeous, and the shipping from the crowdfunder is better than you're going to get like from their retail stores and stuff. So I'm like, I got to do it, but it's gonna get harder, and they're really at kind of a furious pace. They're really releasing stuff, taking advantage, I think, of their popularity and stuff, because they got
why not? Right?
Yeah, Outgun got picked up by Free League for distribution. So
that's right.
Yeah, so they're really doing well, and it's a really fun system. So we'll see. And they've already hinted in their flicks, their the genre kind of like little rewrites, which only kind of change the character sheet and maybe give you some slightly different mechanics. But they've already hinted at everything you could try to do with Outgunned. So they might go back and because they did John Wick and now kind of Indiana Jones, kind of
pulp era adventure.
Pulp stuff, and and now we'll see like MCU style.
Well, Outgunned,
like the slick.
The first Outgunned put out World of Killers.
Yes.
Right,
yeah.
which is specifically like John Wick.
Right.
I think I tried watching like John Wick. I've only seen one. I tried watching like 4 and on Netflix, and I'm like, this is getting kind of stupid. like you know what you sign up for when you start a John Wick movie, but I'm like, this is getting kind of. You know what it was? It was, I think what turned me off of John Wick 4. It's set in Osaka.
Oh right.
Like they're going down the Delta Bridge. I'm like,
right.
Oh hey, look, there's the Glico Man. And I'm like, oh man, we're gonna have this faux. It just like. I don't know, seeing Japan portrayed in like blockbuster popular media, I'm like, this is weird and wrong, and
I don't know which sequel it was, but the one that really impressed me, kind of like the digital effects are the reason that John Wick exists, because you can't fire a gun with blanks like this close to somebody without killing them. So the fact that it's all just air guns and it's all digital, digital flashes, muzzle flash and everything, so they could do that, like hold the gun against your head and fire it. It looks like it's really firing, and they put in the effects later. There's a whole scene that's all melee weapons. It's all swords and hatchets and tomahawks and everything in like display cases in some sort of like antique store. They did
that again in 4.
Yeah. Oh no, that must be that. That must be that one then. So it must be 4. But do you realize in that scene there was no glass and none of those weapons had blades? So that was all handles, and that's amazing. That
I'm going to have to go look at that. Maybe I'm thinking of a different movie.
Yeah, no, but it looked really dangerous and really intense, and like the stabbing and everything. But all the blades were digital. They were like literally holding hilts and handles in that scene, and they put everything in digitally. But it looked so deadly and just punching the case to grab a weapon out of it. There was no glass there. That was all inserted later, and it was done well enough that you just believed it. Yeah.
If that's the case, I'm going to have to go and watch that, because I can appreciate stuff more knowing how it was made.
Yeah. That was pretty impressive. Some effects people do criticize they don't go kind of far enough for the realism of like how the light and the muzzle flash doesn't hit stuff in the room and stuff. Yeah. So you are losing. There is a suspension of disbelief for it because it's not quite realistic. But that scene was like that really impressed me. When like, wow, that must have been really hard to do, because you've seen that done with real weapons in Hong Kong movies, in Indonesian action movies and stuff. You've seen that really scary shit, and to realize they got even more intense with it, but there was actually the safest it's ever been done. But
maybe I'll try and give John Wick 4 a
I'm not
only because I'm like, come on, okay, I watched 1 and 1 was okay, but I'm just like, I don't know. It got kind of like weird. Like, how many bullets are we gonna dodge here, right? Like, I'm getting. Anyway. Yeah.
Yes. So I guess we won't be playing that setting.
I didn't say we wouldn't. Right? I'm just
Nice. So what else are we looking at here? Oh, a classless D&D VTT. Kind of ironic. Monetization. No class, like school in summertime.
That's pretty good.
Can't monetize the community without. Oh, I'm sorry. This is Arturo. Without having people on staff invested in the community.
No, that's a good point.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the and I think that's why a lot of companies, like you see, like when they do their little in-house actual plays and stuff, you see like the social media managers and community managers and stuff involved, because those are the people that you have the direct contact with, the player base and people that are running the Discords and stuff. Yeah, and they just can't. Being so unattached, Hasbro cannot tap into that market. Yeah, it's pretty silly. Yeah. So Matt's saying the board games are so light. Kind of lose interest after a bit. They are pretty light. Yeah, they work well for. I like the rules in skirmish games. I think it's very fun in skirmish games. But I can't imagine like trying to get enough going on in the RPG to like have it be as satisfying as some of the other stuff that we've played.
We're talking about that RipCrypt thing. Like I'll have to go look. 'Cause I don't know anything about it. I don't know what the point.
Or just board clones in general, I think.
Oh, yeah, the Borg.
The
clone,
rules.
Right?
Yeah, sorry, the rules light Borg.
I don't know. Sometimes rules light. No, it's just Mork Borg itself that I'm a bit burned out on. Right? Like, okay, New York Borg, cool. Cyborg, nice one, right? There are all of the Borgs. When we got to Pirate Borg, I'm like, you're not even trying with the name anymore, are you? Right? Yeah.
And there's only like 1,500 of those or whatever on itch.io. The Borg. Can Borg it up. Oh, Arturo got his Monty Python RPG. Yeah, I saw that popping up in retail.
Not an RPG.
Not an RPG. It's a comedy simulator. Yes. Oh, Matt saying Modifius wants to add too many games like Free League. And nice. Oh, yeah, that's right. Miguel was saying, do you see the Prime Minister responded to did you read any of the Assassin's Creed Shadows stuff? So they're, so you remember the Afro Samurai anime series that was popular for a while? Okay. So that's based on, technically an historical figure, but they found out it's just a British guy that was grifting from some like odd reference to a guy. They're not even like, the what is his name, Yasuke? They're not even sure like what station he had, what exactly he was. So
the historical account of the Black Samurai, we're saying the sources for that seem
they're very weak, and this guy wrote a whole book that just kind of turned it into fact. He just like ran with it and said, no, there was a samurai and he was this vassal or whatever, Nobunaga, and it was like all this, like put him in, just like put this guy in history. And so Ubisoft ran with that for their Assassin's Creed, and they did some really weird stuff. So there's a black main character, and he can slaughter Japanese, so he can slaughter Japanese in the trailer. Like, of course, they used hip hop music, and he's cutting, shredding Japanese, but he couldn't touch the Korean, merchants or any of the other like foreign NPCs. So it's a kind of a weird like foreigner slaughtering, like gaijin slaughter engine for Japanese. And so the historically it's very fucked up. Some professors, universities have already like posted official response. I think the Ministry of Education posted an official response, and now the Prime Minister. Current Prime Minister of Japan said, we've got to stop this, abuse of Japanese culture, and also even talked about the pollution of tourism in Japan.
Well, whose fault is that?
Yeah, right. But, so let's get that yen up so we can make hotels expensive again. But it's very interesting that it's gotten to this state, and I think it was just, the French have always had a hard-on for Japan, and in that exoticism, kind of Orientalism way. Yep. So of course they're not going to be respectful. They're just going to, be very, but then to not even choose a historical figure. Not that they've always done really well in that series of being historically accurate, but to go so random and just choose this very, not well-defined, sidelined, figure just because you can put hip-hop music in the game. I don't know. It's a very, very odd choice. But yeah, so Japan has officially had to respond to this, like their representation. Yeah, although they don't. That's a can of worms they shouldn't have opened, because because if people want to complain about representation in Japanese games of foreigners, it's not gonna be good.
That was running through my mind. I was like, okay, I'm not saying you're wrong for bringing this up, but I'm like, Japan has a pretty bumpy track record for how it portrays other cultures. Right, yeah. So you can, okay. Yeah, just
But
Just be
the
fair,
the
Jim.
prime minister, he needs to be doing something. I guess they're going to replace him soon enough. But I thought that was really funny that Japan has officially responded.
Officially responded. Well, I'm gonna have to go look into that.
Yeah, pretty funny. Not very nice of them. Yeah, and it was the typical kind of Japanese responses. We're just not. That's not great. Nothing.
It's not great.
Nothing very strong. We got some Free League. I will not stand for Free League disrespect. Talking to Matt. Yeah. Too many. That's right. So Matt's saying too many games. Free League's got too many games going. Modifius is a genre simulator. They need the sweet IPs. Free League puts out nothing but bangers, and not even counting the indie label. Yeah. So, but Free League has recently, those last couple of games, I was always on board for what Free League was doing, even when it was IP like Alien. But recently, like World of the Walking Dead and now Invincible, I'm like, it's okay. I mean,
I didn't know about Invincible.
Yeah, Invincible. Yeah, so we're gonna have Outgunned 3 superheroes, Invincible superheroes, and then we've already got the Marvel. There's a Marvel super.
There's a Marvel. Yeah.
I think everyone's. So we have a selection. It's kind of like everyone making an asteroid hitting the Earth movie at the same time. There's all superhero movies coming out.
But I mean, come on, that's a good analogy because Deep Impact and Armageddon were very different from each other.
Yeah. That's true. No Aerosmith in one of them.
No, I mean Deep Impact. Sorry, Deep Impact did not have chain gun mounted lunar rovers.
Oh yeah.
That Armageddon was so fucking dumb. I'm sorry. That was like, why? Why did you?
Yeah.
Okay, but I mean, okay. It proves the point, right? Do you want a quasi-thinky movie, or do you want an action movie? Right? Like, they're about the same thing, but they go about it in different ways, right?
Yeah,
good analogy for how games work. Like, it's all about superheroes. Yeah, but okay, do you want this one? Like,
right.
Yeah.
And Troika even released they have a superhero.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, they're it's over there. Yeah, they're something city Hotshot City. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
I do know about that. Okay.
Yes, I'm bad remembering names, but yeah, very cool. Yeah, so I'll get the everything reconfigured for the stream. Yeah, next.
Matt was very disappointed that his not the best.
Oh yeah, not the best didn't show up. No AI fighting, nothing available this week.
Yeah.
Edition. Yeah, we barely cobbled together access to the multi-streaming. So yeah, just got lucky enough to get online. Hey, Abyss and Quark. Hey everyone. Nice to see you guys. Yeah, sorry. Different time, different day. Same bat channel. But
almost a different cast, but it's not.
Oh yeah, no, it's still the same. Yeah.
Are we? Yeah. Okay.
Nice. But yeah, what else is going on? Yeah, right. Arturo saying, Hasbro wants monetization, continual engagement numbers.
I think Matt said as long as line goes up for the shareholders.
Yeah, right. And that's all they're like responsible to. And it's funny that like you've got something. You've got something like D&D, and just like a lot of companies have to do, or even like the locations for franchises or whatever. I guess not franchises, but branches of things. There's some locations that you just want your name there, and the location is going to lose money, but other places are going to be profitable. So D&D, it should just be there with their loss leader or whatever, and just keep.
Magic Magic would definitely not be the loss leader. That would be their income generator.
Right. So just keep not having to do phenomenal with D&D, but you're keeping it alive with Peppa Pig and Transformers and whatever. Just to keep that line going up. But obviously, they don't have any respect for the game or the whole hobby.
I don't know. We kind of not argue, but mentioned before the cast. Like, do you have to have respect for the thing to own it?
Yeah, that's I think it would probably, if everybody that was working at Wizards was fanatical D&D, it probably things would move slower. There'd be a lot more. Things would just get slowed down by people fighting over their input or their beliefs or their version of the settings or the games or the system. So I don't know. Yeah, you need the financing and you need that, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's D&D is a weird thing because just the history of TSR and everything. It shouldn't have ever been as popular as it was in 2015.
I don't even know. Okay, like I've talked any number of times before about how D&D is synonymous with tabletop role-playing games simply because it has been around like the longest and was most commercially successful. I'm thinking about like the D&D cartoon, right? Like, how did they ever get into like a place of financial stability or popularity to make an 80s cartoon in the first place? Like, were they were that popular?
Oh yeah, well yeah. I mean, yeah, take a listen or a look at some of those TSR histories. Yeah, they were. I mean, it wasn't stable financial success, but it was. There was a lot of. They moved out to LA, and there was a lot of cocaine, and they were meeting with all kinds of people to do all kinds of things. So yeah, I think it was just that the company was trying to, just with all of those weird the toy lines and stuff, they were just trying to reach out. They knew it was popular. People didn't really know what it was, and a lot of people didn't play the game, but there was like brand awareness. So they were really, and especially during kind of satanic panic years and stuff, they got a lot of negative press, but a lot of awareness of it. So just trying to take advantage of that.
You mean like, okay, not a business person, I keep saying it, but like, yes, D&D is in the position where it's like a household name, right? What other... Okay, there's been a couple now, right? But it was mostly like, what other role-playing game has a blockbuster movie helmed by Chris Pine? Oh, right, like it released in the theater, right?
Right.
Fuck, that movie was.
You mean Hasbro's Dungeons and Dragons?
Right? Anyway, like.
Yeah.
It's in a position where everybody knows about it, even if they don't know what it is. And how do they keep fucking up this bad about just putting stuff out? Yeah,
well, but you can say that about Star Wars and Star Trek and
but those were not games first.
No, if we're talking about but tabletop, it's possible to fuck up an IP and whoa, let's go the wrong way here, and like totally walk away from anything anybody was expecting. And that was I think they're realizing they're losing some fans, because if you look at the weird simplicity of their new starter set, I mean, it is almost like babies first. Like you could have kindergarten kids playing D&D with the way that they've created this like new starter set. It's almost unusable by anybody that's played the game before.
Which I don't. Okay, numbers would tell me whether I'm wrong or not. But I mean, if you're Hasbro and if you're in a position to get this game into big box stores, I think you have to do that.
You're right. You have to lower the barrier as much as possible.
No, it's just different format, right? I was thinking like gone are the days of word of mouth teaching people how to play and only figure out how to play by getting into a group and then being your own DM. Like, okay, it's just a different media, like streams, YouTubes, whatever. Like, there's your word of mouth to learn how to play, but like also just like getting it into the store, right? People walking on Walmart and they're like, oh, hey, D&D, wasn't that a movie? That's right. Right. Like, I have to think, like, what percentage do you actually of customers get into the games that way? And like, wouldn't you have to do it that way? Like, I don't think I'm going to play next month, but having played 2 sessions of like Magpie's Avatar Legend with Alan, like, I think that ended up in Target or other stuff like that. And looking at that is in, I mean, I'm not saying it's difficult, but like that is in no way baby's first RPG, right?
Yeah,
like, that is clearly written for people who already know how to play.
Yeah.
And will that bite them in the ass?
Right, because the IP is what's going to be attractive, and let's try to play this. Oh my god.
Yeah, and like, it wasn't a mess of a game, right? I've only played twice, not read the books, and like it was fine, right? But yeah, like that was clearly written for people who already know what a role-playing game is and kind of have the basics down on how to play. So
I wonder if and I guess people have been trying to come up with another like gateway into the hobby that isn't D&D, like that one that we talked about, the blogger created, that they're trying to get into schools and stuff.
Oh, Quest.
Yeah.
And which, I mean,
what happened there?
I don't know.
But they were trying to go really simple and let's just have fun and roll some dice and tell me what you're doing. Yeah, so I don't know. It's a weird thing, and I don't understand why they're. I guess they had that 5e, then the pandemic success, and they're like, let's keep going, and it's impossible. Those conditions will never exist.
The only
again.
thing that has infinite growth is cancer.
Yes,
right.
Right. So make D&D more like cancer, and yeah.
Well, that's what they're doing.
Stage 4. We play stage 4 only, so there is no stage 5. But yeah, that's it's an odd thing, and I think it's always been a really hard thing to figure out, like what to do with, because even when somebody comes up, there's some innovation in the indie space, and someone comes up with something maybe was inspired by old school but has a new feel and is rules light or something. Then there's everybody iterates on it, like everyone is inspired. So what you do as a player is think about, well, what would my game be like? Like what was we're house ruling everything. Let's just make this our own system. So that you're constantly generating weird competition and like crowding a market with
is it weird? I mean, like, okay, yeah, one way to look at it is competition, but like I always said, like, okay, even if there's a game or any number of games out there that are already very similar to yours, no one is going to do it exactly the way you do, right? And one of the strengths of the internet is kind of anyone can produce stuff, right? Like there's always a boom of inspired by or derived by or third party stuff whenever some new hotness comes out, right? Hey, back to Morkborg, right? First, it was like it was the D&D, right? 3.5 of the third party stuff. I mean, then the one that I remember most clearly was like Powered by the Apocalypse, right? That was a massive boom. And then like now we're getting like it's all Borg compatible and Shadow Dark that I'm seeing now, right?
Right.
So like it's always gonna happen, and I think the strengths of indie games are that they're faster, they can iterate on this and kind of ride that wave, where big corporate things can't, right? Because they're just too slow. I don't really know where I was going with that, but I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, because but I've seen in like some OSR groups and things, people talking about, do we really need another? Haven't we found one that we like
that's
and
the
staying
thing too,
with it?
right?
Yeah.
Like the downside of everyone being able to like put anything up is like, yes, I don't know if it's too many, but like you look at
but ours is pink.
What makes yours different
right.
from right, and that's kind of what I asked before. I didn't really get an answer because I wasn't really asking about like Shadow Dark. I'm just like saw someone on social media saying, okay, like what is it? What makes it different from any number of the other OSR retro clones that are out there, right? The kind of white box encyclopedia, whatever. Like what's different, right?
Well, she knew Gary Gygax. You knew Gary Gygax? Okay, Gary Gygax touched her on the shoulder. But yeah, that's her cred, her RPG cred. No, I just that reminded me. Yeah. No, there's a. I saw some interview that's what they led with. That just reminded me of Gladiator. You knew Marcus Aurelius? Okay. I didn't say I knew Marcus Aurelius. I said he touched me on the shoulder. Okay. So that is her RPG cred. Is Gary Gygax touched her on the shoulder, and when she was like 12 years old, said you should be a DM or a game designer or something, and she said, I'm gonna wait for that OGL debacle, and then I'm gonna make my move. Yeah. Okay. Yep. I don't know. I'm so suspicious of any success, of any $1 million success on Kickstarter. I don't know why. You knew Jaded? Marcus Aurelius. Yes, I am, man. It's too much. Yeah. But I mean, we should always celebrate these successes. But
celebrate success. But, okay, yep. We live in a capitalist dystopian hellscape. Success is measured by how much money you make. Yeah,
right. Yeah, that's true. And that's what I was saying last week, as I was a little frustrated with how they're leading, everything released for Shadow Dark is our first, over $1 million crowdfunding success of 2025. It's like, let's not do that, because that's a really bad way to look at this stuff. Let's look at, community supporting it, and accessibility, and bringing people to the hobby. Not God, it raised $1 million.
Doesn't bring in the money. What brings in the money is look how much money we've already made.
Yes, right.
That's not their fault.
Fully funded in 12 seconds. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
that's what you got to do. Oh, here's a bit of good news. The U.S. Appeals Court rejects copyrights for AI-generated art lacking human creators. So we're getting to the point where they're just saying, yes, this stuff is not copyrightable. Good. And the example that they used is a monkey taking a picture, taking a photo with a camera. There's no human involved there. There's no copyright. A monkey doesn't create a copyright. So, yeah.
Good.
So hopefully we're going to see more rejection of that, and that's fine then. So those tools will exist because they're actually like for doing quick character art or quick NPC art. If you can just go, old lady standing over, stew pot, and you can just quickly generate something that will at least give a visual base. It's not like very guided, but a visual base for players on a VTT to look at. I mean, that's a useful tool. You can't sell it.
Use your imagination.
Yeah. No, not your imagination. Tell us what you could scrape off the internet. But yeah. So I think it's got an interesting use, but I don't think the look what I did, mommy thing appeal of like generative AI art stuff for people. I hope that just goes away and they realize that you can.
I don't think it will, because not for a long time, because the tech bros in charge of stuff are jealous of people's skill and ability, and are looking to either crush that out or, like you said, look what I did, mommy. It's like, no, you didn't do that, right?
Right. Yeah. So that's the frustrating aspect of it. It's getting into there's a lot of weird support, and now that we have China, leaning hard into the AI game, you're getting things where you can literally take a picture and generate a 3D mesh. There's AI that will make 3D models. I'm not sure how good it is, but mapped 3D models of 2D images and stuff. So yeah, it's pretty soon it's going to get weird how you're gonna be able to move between mediums and what you're going to be doing, and we're going to forget all about how these data sets were derived. That's just going to get swept in because look at what you can do. But so that's we got a decision. This was involving Midjourney, specifically Midjourney. So artists arguing that they were entitled to copyrights, and I love the defense. The AI company's defense is still, but if we didn't steal it, we couldn't afford it.
Well, then too bad.
Yeah, and the is it ChatGPT that I think it was now they have definitive proof that they not only did they steal it, but they downloaded torrents, peer-to-peer trading, file trading of copyrighted material that they then made the data set for, every book that, ebook that was released and every newspaper and everything, they downloaded it, but they even illegally downloaded terabytes of text that they trained ChatGPT on. And they, that's documented now, and they're just kind of too late, isn't it? It's already been sucked up into the AI. But so that's at least good that they're gonna, and I think that's fine as long as people aren't trying to sell this stuff and taking jobs in. But I think once we start saying that is not sellable, have you used tool? I guess though it's going to start getting weird because Photoshop is so full of AI tools now, so it's going to be really
full of AI.
It's going to be really hard to say. Yeah,
I've canceled my Microsoft subscription because they're trying to up the price on that because hey, we're not putting in Copilot, right? You have to jump through so many hoops to turn off Gemini in your Google Workspace, right? Pinterest is oh, by the way, everything that you've been in there, we're using that. It is getting to the point where it is intentionally inescapable, specifically so that the companies force you to either just go, you know what, not worth my time to opt out, or it's in everything already, so I'll just give in, right? That is their goal.
That's interesting too, though. They're going to have to decide, and I guess they've never quite even figured that out with digital art, because if you change a single pixel on a digital image, does that make it an original? Does that make it your original piece of art?
It's a ship of Theseus.
But so that's going to become they never have really resolved that, so it's going to become the same issue with AI. That you don't have a copyright to this, you can't use this. Well, how many AI tools did you use to paint this, and what was that trained on? If that's trained on copyrighted material, then all of the work you've done your entire career as a digital artist is now invalidated. Because the brush stroke that the pen you used in Photoshop was trained on other people's digital painting. Yeah, it's gonna get crazy because you won't be able, and maybe that's how they want it then, because then just people will just be belching out content, so they'll just be slop, just constant slop from whatever sources, and you can I like that new term that keeps everybody as soon as somebody detects something's AI, that's slop. Yeah.
Well, that's what it is.
The
It's
slop.
like ground up, mixed together, regurgitated slop.
Yep.
Yeah.
Eaten out of a trough. Yeah. Photo trough. So should be fun. But Tura's saying, Tamika, am I misinformed? But there isn't mostly fringe politicians that are trying to make on what we still I'm still talking about the Shadows, the Assassin's Creed. It's so funny though, because you have to find any small thing. The grifters, so it's the YouTube grifters that they release their 12-minute, their half a dozen 12-minute videos every day, have to be grifting on something. So they gotta be saying something. But I think that is an interesting point. Japan saying anything about representation they're gonna walk into a whole bunch of let's look at some 90s anime. Why don't we?
Yep.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Pay a sub for playing with my friends. Yeah, that's the frustrating thing, and I hope that model never breaks with VTTs, where only one person has to pay a subscription, and then they can play with as many people as possible. Like you only put the burden, just like you put the burden of buying all the books on the one person. Yeah. So hopefully they never break that, where everybody has to be subscribed.
Well, it certainly will. It's become a publicly traded company.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but I guess we should be happy that Sigil is such a
failure.
That just completely failed, because that would have been the new iTunes store. That would have been the new Apple walled garden.
They're still planning on that. Yeah.
They can't. I think they've already. There's no way to come back and have any credibility now to try to do that. But what are those Microsoft people doing now? that was their whole idea, is that monetization. Caroline saying, thank you for correctly pronouncing Sigil, as we all should. American English. Arturo is asking, Hive Mind, Warner Brothers is in the process of divesting their game studio. It's not but it's not the right market to buy. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I wonder what weird moves we're going to see from Hasbro, because that Chris Cox commentary is. Oh, you missed. You were here for that? Oh, that's right. You were here for the AI Bowl. Chris Cox is the AI Bowl. His comments about what they should be doing sound really, really misguided. Like the cheap toy knockoffs that they found in China. We should be doing this. Wait, you should be doing cheaper knockoffs of the stuff you're already doing. Okay, that's amazing thinking there.
Wasn't it kind of like the clothing company having a bunch of like imprints and brands? It's like Uniqlo and GU are owned by the same.
Yeah. It's that whole fast fashion thing is really fascinating, like how they cornered those markets and came up with that technology. If that ever gets applied, well, it probably is being applied to other stuff, but they essentially like send blanks. They send like a blank design to a factory and just say, just modify it this way, and that's how they're creating these weird it's really impressive. Like once you get your textiles market kind of cornered, then you can start feeding this endless machine of trash fashion. And the way they did it is pretty impressive. It creates a lot of landfills full of garbage, but pretty impressive. Cork is saying, I'm probably comfortable just playing D&D, like buying a Toyota Camry by default. Yeah, right. And it is like what's the safe bet? What's the thing that's not going to like confuse me or and interesting. They are the Toyota the Toyota Camry of that. That's how they should market themselves. Not the world's greatest role-playing game. The Toyota Camry of tabletop. Highest resale value, something like that. Matt's excited about Outgunned. Yeah, the Supers book looks fun, and especially if they stick with that whole Marvel, like that Marvel-esque wrapper. That's pretty funny, because that whole thing is all confused now. They're never gonna come back. They're never gonna come back and repeat that.
No, they're not. They're gonna try. They're gonna keep trying, but they're just not.
Yes. Yeah, very funny. Cork said, actually, I never played D&D. I started role-playing with Star Wars D6. Nice, the West End games.
Oh, yeah.
My group has always been more into sci-fi. I never really played heroic fantasy, which is weird because I love Lord of the Rings. Oh, that's very funny. Yeah, what was the very first RPG that you played? Like an actual, setting where somebody was trying to run it?
drawing a blank. The very first RPG I ever played was like oral only, choose your own adventure thing run by the older kids at like karate summer camp.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So like I only kind of realized that like now.
Yeah,
like that was the first RPG.
Oh, you're having these
No, but like
camp?
like at the time I didn't realize it was like a role playing game.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Interesting.
oh, they're playing this game where like one person says like what happens to the other person saying what they do, right? And I realized it just kind of like pawned me off.
Oh, wow.
Like the first door I opened, I like instantly fucking died, and it was only because the big kids wanted to play with themselves.
Right.
But anyway, like I'm trying to
wording.
Yeah. Like
Interesting. Yeah.
I'm drawing a blank on the first RPG I ever played, but I remember the first RPG I ever bought, and it was like first edition, the box set of first edition Gamma World for and I said this before, 25 cents at like this 5th or 6th grade like flea market. The first role-playing game I ever played might have been like the Advanced Hero Quest, back when Games Workshop did it, and you had your tokens. Because I remember my dad taking me down to like the Games Workshop one Saturday afternoon and just standing there for like an hour while I like one of the guys ran me through like a game, and that was but I don't know if that qualifies as a role-playing game.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah,
But
that's
like West
cool.
End Game Star Wars was up there too.
Yeah, that was definitely early days. Yeah, I had I think my early tabletop only extended through junior high school. I think by 8th grade, I was like, oh, girls. And I was done. Yeah, I was like done with that. And then we moved, and there wasn't a hobby store.
Okay.
That I didn't realize what a
Yeah.
huge thing that was and how that kept you involved in the hobby and you seeing new things. So there was Mike's Games and Hobbies. And I was in there all the time, and every new like Steve Jackson little pocket box set, everything, I was just like constantly picking up new things all the time. And as soon as there was only comic book stores around, and no role-playing groups or anything, so high school just like completely went away.
Right.
And and then in university it was the same. There was nobody playing anything. Yeah, and it was art school, but nobody was playing tabletop.
Wow.
So it took until after that. I guess I had friends that had tabletop history, because one of my closest friends in undergrad did a lot of fantasy illustrations and then went into game development as a artist, and so he definitely was influenced, but didn't get back to games. I mean, I think it was really like the biggest step back into it was coming to Japan.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, because I wouldn't have had a reason to get back into it, and like the board game thing was picking up. We started, instead of like playing poker, we started socializing with Netrunner and everything. So I wouldn't have had a reason to get back into it. It's very funny. But the basic set, like trying to run the basic set, was my first experience. And then I think I got that from Sears or something. Like they were selling the Dungeons and Dragons was in the weirdest places.
That's what I mean. Like it's
Yeah, so it's really funny. But it's changed so much now. So you don't need a local hobby shop now. I mean, that could definitely keep you more involved, because you've got like maybe a social obligation to meet people in person at the hobby store.
or place to play, possibly.
But but now with the internet, and now, I mean, even thinking about that, like randos on Discord, you can do that. Like that's and even like Roll20 and stuff. I think there's looking for games. You can find sessions. That's insane. Like that is insane accessibility.
Is it any different from like Is it any different from like the bulletin, the pack with the bulletin board at the games where like looking for a game, kind of thing?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Or just playing by mail, like your mail.
Wow, that would be interesting.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's still a thing. I think Chicago Chris was doing that for a while with
physical mail.
Yeah. I think. Well, maybe they did email. Yeah.
Okay.
But that would be much more fun if it was actually written.
So long. It's so expensive now. Well, I don't know how much it would be expensive compared to like 1980s dollars, right?
What if Hasbro figures this out? Play by mail. That's where we need to go, because we can get a piece of that. The shipping. Oh man. Yeah. So so I think next month or May. Maybe it's May. I think May is the Outgun 3.
That's when the Kickstarter.
So, but they're doing a fun thing where they're going to do reveals and live streams and do their phases up, leading up to it. But and I like the thing that I like the most about their games is they have an artist, and they have a real nice consistency in look and feel.
Like the
for each of the
production
systems.
quality for their stuff is beautiful, right? Yeah.
Nice.
Also, I mean, like it costs what it costs. What do you expect it to cost?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
just can't swallow that cost.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's true because it's expensive. Oh, and it's got to get here. Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Like that was awesome. Oh, and the shipping. Oh my God, the shipping is as much as the product. Yeah.
The price just doubled.
Yeah.
Nice.
There's a lot of stuff I can't send here. Like looking at more
Yeah,
like 6
yeah.
millimeter stuff, I'm like, oh, cool. You get like 30 of these little dudes for like £3 shipping. 20 fucking pounds. God damn. All right. It was like, never mind. Right.
Yeah, and I think a lot of like people's online stores, if they're not going to micromanage shipping and like each order, they're going to be okay. What's the best way to get this to them? If they just do a default shipper.
Well, I mean, it's not.
It's really-
It's nobody's
really big.
fault,
Yeah.
right? It's just the price of international shipping is ridiculous, and small companies can't. Like they gotta pay it, right? And they can't.
Yeah,
They're
right,
not
yeah.
big enough to absorb any kind of
Right,
cost.
right.
But I just look at it and I go, I can't swing like a 300% markup to send stuff internationally.
Yeah.
So.
Oh
I won't
yeah,
buy it.
yeah. That just came up. I saw another notification. So the fun never stops with Warzone Eternal.
Oh.
So the shit thing, which of course is a very common thing for North America when they're developing games. Yeah, any place but Europe and America is going last. So
Right,
I'm not
yeah.
going to see that rule book,
Ever.
for forever. It's going to be a year or so. So those go out after everything else has gone out. But they had a problem with VAT. They were auto charging people for VAT, which they said they weren't going to do. But then they've also said they're waiting to ship anything that's not in North America. They're going to ship to a distributor in the EU, which is going to be a delay. But that's the cheapest way to do it because they're a very small company. They can't absorb those costs. But if you want it sooner, you can contact them by email. They'll send you the price for them to ship it from the U.S. Like, what a mess. What a mess. Yeah, and that's what you got to deal with. Like, that's what you're stepping into, unless you're just going to deal with the companies. And then you're risking, like, your reputation. Like, your game is going to get screwed up because the distributed company you're using is going to fuck you over or make some mistakes, and then that's going to reflect badly on you, not them.
Yeah.
Yikes. Yeah, Wizards does need to bring back Dark Sun. I was just reading through a whole list of like how people recommended you play like an alternative system for playing that setting. And of course Shadow Dark came up like, okay, sure, whatever. Yeah, but it's very very funny. All right. Yasuke has been in some Japanese video games. Yeah, it's a pop culture character, like that British guy that like now is like stepping back a little bit on his historical accuracy. He was just a grifter, just one of those guys that comes here and like gets all Japanophiled up, and then it's like, oh, I'm literate, I have degrees, I'm going to publish a historical fiction, which is mostly just fiction.
Anyway.
Nice. Yeah. So what else is going on? Interesting. Yeah. Cork is saying, Cthulhu has been a tabletop thing. I guess first a literary, but Cthulhu has inspired blockbuster movies. There's been big movies. Yeah, Mouth of Madness. I guess it's not blockbuster, but pretty big movies. There's never been the perfect Cthulhu. I guess you'd have to stretch.
Yeah, but kind of Cthulhu's now, I don't know, when I see like commercials for stuff on anywhere, it's like, oh, Cthulhu-esque, and I'm like, tentacles. Tentacles does not solely Cthulhu thing. And like, that's what it's become, like an eldritch horror. Like, no, you're just, no.
Oh, it had tentacles? Yeah, that's Lovecraft. Yeah, that's true. Oh, yeah, that's right. And the Jeremy Irons D&D movies. I can't believe those got made. That was interesting too. The guy that had the rights, the Red Letter Media talked about this in their commentary for one of the D&D movies. The guy that had the rights to make a D&D movie wanted, like in James Cameron or some like big big name director to do it. He couldn't get anybody to do it, so he did it himself, and that's why you have the quality of the movie he did. But he was so passionate. This has to be made. We have to do a Dungeons and Dragons movie. I'm buying the rights. Okay, now what? Yeah. But yeah, you got some good scenery chewing from Jeremy Irons.
Not really.
But great CG though. That's the thing. The dragons looked amazing.
I think we saw different movies.
Nice. Oh, yeah, there we go. Yeah, Raul Julia in Street Fighter. Yes, his bison. Nice. Chewing lots of scenery and I think dying from cancer. I think he was sick by that time. Yeah, that's crazy. Let's see. Oh, Arturo was talking about I got back into the hobby right after the pandemic because of Numenera. Or right before the pandemic. Kickstarted the CRPG, and it inspired me to get the books. Wow, that is really interesting, and I never realized how much, because when we're talking about famous, D&D designers or people that have done famous adventures, they've worked in video games as well. Like even as early as the 80s and early 90s, there was already so much crossover in people that wanted to do this on the PC as well. So many people have moved between Janelle Jacquet's moved between video games and tabletop. So there's so much more of that than we realized. And I guess that's why Hasbro got so
excited.
Yeah, they peed themselves over Baldur's Gate. It's like, yes, this is it. This is what we want. This is the synergy. But and I wonder people that knew nothing about D&D, maybe knew that some older Baldur's Gate games existed, played this, they're young and fantasy computer RPGs, played Baldur's Gate, and that actually made them try D&D.
I have to wonder.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like when you put a URL on TV. Is there somebody actually going to put a website into a computer after seeing it on TV? It may not actually translate.
At least put a QR code, right?
Yeah, right. I can't believe QR codes became the default. Restaurants now, your menu is a QR code, everything.
That's just outsourcing labor.
Yeah. We don't. We'll bring you the food, but other than that, we don't want to interact. But you're saying Free League has been killing it with OSR revivals. Yeah. The Dragonbane it's awesome. Yeah, it's awesome that exists. I'm glad that actually happened. Because the only thing we had that was even close was the Trudvang, the riot mine. Riot mines or mine? I say it wrong all the time. I don't know if it's plural or singular, but that was the only English language kind of Swedish inspired. But that was their original game engine and everything. So not a real accurate representation. Nice, but good. Yeah, very cool to see. So much activities. Yeah, sorry to catch everybody off guard and our weird low quality.
It looks fine. There's no bells and whistles on it.
Yeah, nothing else. But so we will get back to it. Doing some Fallout. Have you played?
I've not.
In the Fallout games? Did you watch the Amazon?
I've not.
Thing? Oh.
The only thing I have is Netflix.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but I was going to go back and watch the Amazon series, just to kind of start thinking more Fallout, and it actually ended up being better to do the YouTube, lore videos for the games, because I was looking at remember what happened in the show. I was I don't want to watch that again. There was just so many scenes. I don't need to see that again. They ended the season with a tease of New Vegas. They showed the skyline of post-apocalyptic Las Vegas, and so they tease some fun stuff. But as far as what happened in the show, it's okay, I don't want to do that again. That was weird. Yeah, so it's not, and very few things are like that. I went back and started watching Andor again, and wow, this is fun. I forgot this is great, and I didn't feel I have to watch this scene again. Yeah, but for some reason the Fallout show, I got that feeling. I was just kind of dreading. It's I don't want to watch this thing. So yeah, it just depends. It's a funny thing. So let's see. Oh yeah. They're talking old D&D.
Old D&D.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Yeah, you don't see the appeal of going back.
No, I mean, like, I don't know. Sure, it is interesting to go back and look at what gaming was, right? But then you kind of play and you're just like,
well, it is funny that it is such a different mindset from now. Like things, your expectations, and the amount of math you want to do, and like how long something should take, and how simulationist you want to get.
Right.
Like how you want to limit. Well, wait a minute. You've got a pole arm in a
Dungeon.
4 foot 4 foot tall tunnel. What are you doing with that? Like there's very funny things that was part of the excitement of it and the fun of it, and especially when we were younger too. I think as you get older, you're just like, can we just not? I think a lot of crunch and a lot of simulation is really fun when you're young because you're able to do it much easier and have more fun with it. It's exciting with your young brain.
But not to prolong this because I'm hungry AF. but like you said, okay, I think there's a different mindset between there are mechanical ways to, like, okay, my brain is off. What I'm trying to say is, okay, what you said is, okay, on the one side of the spectrum is the players at the table going, dude, we're in a 4 foot wide square corridor. How are you wielding a polearm?
Right.
And there's not any kind of mechanics that say you can or can't do it. It's just, dude, use common sense, right? This is not going to work very well. And then maybe the GM or whoever's playing making some kind of ruling to be like, okay, well, I'm going to give you whatever qualifies as disadvantage, or you just outright can't use that, right? Fictional permission based on what is happening in the world of the game versus, okay, well, the hallway has the close quarters tag, which means all weapons with this tag can't be used, or you're going to get a penalty. Like, there's a mechanical kind of... Yeah. I think it's interesting to go back and look because the sense I get is things are more fictional positioning and fictional permission.
Oh, yeah.
Based on more mechanical stuff.
Right.
Which I think we might be swinging back from in general terms. I don't know.
The GURPS is coming back? You think?
No. I think, like, I feel like role-playing games have recently made a big swing towards more mechanical permissions, and now might be swinging back towards, like, the fictional position permission.
More story, right. Yeah, that's true. And what was interesting in the kind of OSR stuff that I played in is when things got too rules light, like we switched to a system that was more rules light, people would be like, oh, but what about encumbrance? I kind of want that. It's like they miss, there's certain things that people want that they also identify with. That's a role-playing game. When I have to worry about how much I'm carrying, then I feel like I'm playing a role-playing game. Yeah.
No, I understand that because after... similar but not exact. After running so much like Powered by the Apocalypse, that time I tried to run Hollow Earth Expedition.
Oh, yeah.
And we'd be like, okay, we roll the dice, and it's like, you got 5 successes.
Yes.
There's nothing in, like, the moves.
Right.
Like, that's all on me, the GM, to narrate or discover the difference or iterate the difference between 4 successes and 5 successes, right? It was very much, okay, the system spat out a number, and it was all completely on the table to interpret what that number meant.
Right. What is a 5 exactly?
Yeah.
When you're riding a dinosaur.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, we're gonna get some Indian food because it is kind of late lunch now. Yeah. Right. Yeah, we're running late. Yeah. Actually, I wonder if they reset for dinner. We might be in trouble. All right. But thank you everybody for joining us, and thanks again, Chris, for taking so much time. Extra long, and so 2 whole hours of us going on, and so good to see everybody.
No
and
one got any of that.
I'm glad I didn't get any of that, Chris. I'm glad that you guys caught on to the new day. I didn't give you any warning, but you were there. The notification came and you showed up. Yes. Oh, excellent. Thank you. So, all right, everybody, take care, and we will see you again. We'll see you soon for some Fallout. Yep. And Cork has the rule book. But needs to find some time to prepare. Yeah. We played enough Roll20 though. I felt like I had some of the preparation burden was gone. I have to learn the system. It's like pretty much the same.
That is what a system should do, right?
Yes, yeah, exactly. All right. See you next time.
Later, mortals.
Goodbye.